Welcome to Extraordinary Women on thatchannel.com. I'm your host, Shannon Skinner. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Vered Haiun, a dancer and entrepreneur whose erotic dancing for fitness classes are rocking Montreal, and we'll find out why. And later in the segment, just before we take a break, I'll have my regular Good to Know Minute when I ask my guests for their top tip on creating success in life, and you'll hear Vered's. Vered, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here today, all the way from
Shannon.
Montreal.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
Oh, great. We were with the family, with the kids. We did a thankful game in the morning, saying what are we thankful for, so we made a huge list.
Of course, you're here visiting your sister.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. She has a family of 5 children, her husband. It's wonderful. It's great. We had a great weekend. A lot of activities and a lot of dance parties, too, at home.
Well, it's a great topic to start fitness
after all that turkey.
After the turkey weekend.
Yeah, some people told me they were immobilized after their meal. So yeah, getting moving is a good idea.
Now, you have been dancing from the time that you were quite young.
Yes.
When did you start to dance?
Well, I started at age 11, and which is pretty late, actually, for most kids to start dancing. It was something that I explored with a few friends, and we started off with ballet. That was the kind of first step that you would take to go into a dance class. And then we did some jazz, and then it was something that I just really became addicted to. It was a lot of bliss for me. When I would go into a dance class, it was heaven. And a couple of years later, after I started taking dance classes, my teacher asked me if I would assist her in the classes. And so that's what I did. So I was, I think, perhaps 13 or 14 years old when I started actually teaching. And so I was assisting my teacher, which was amazing. And I was teaching little ballerinas.
Is that unusual at the age of 14?
You know what? We were a couple of girls, but I was very, very dedicated. It was an after-school thing that I would hop on the bus and go straight to the dance studio. It was where I stayed. And then afterwards, through the years from assisting my teacher, I actually had my own classes where I started choreographing routines for big shows, and I had my own little students. So we were doing jazz and ballet and lyrical, and we'd create little Broadway mini musicals, which was wonderful. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Did you have a dream of going to Broadway?
Oh my God! Yeah. Which girl doesn't? Yes. I'd watch that show, Fame, of course, which we all grew up with. Well, I know people my age did. And I dream about, one day I'll go to a school like that where I could sing and dance on top of cars. So not so much on top of cars now, but dancing and singing all over the place for sure. Yeah.
Was there a star you idolized that you wanted to be like as a dancer?
No, there were a lot of people that I always appreciated their art of dance. Like I loved Baryshnikov. He was somebody I'd watch all of his work. And it wasn't that I was so much of a ballet was my thing, but I just loved the way his body moved. It seemed like it was so free. And he was so flexible in what he did. Everything that he did, whether it was jazzy, whether it was sexy, whether it was more ballet style, he always had his own style to it. So he was somebody that I definitely appreciated and admired a lot. And then of course Michael Jackson, as every dancer's like idol. You watch him, the way he moves, it seems so natural. It seems like, wow, how does he do that? And all his creativity. So definitely somebody that I always admired and would look at all of his videos, like study them, all the DVDs, all day in, day out when I was choreographing to get inspiration from things,
So after you would take your dance classes, I mean, how many hours of practice did you put in at home?
Oh, I was dancing all the time. It wasn't, you know what, and it wasn't like I didn't even think about it as practice. Music was always on at my house. I'd go down into the basement and I was dancing all the time. So it wasn't like it was hard work or laborious in any way. It was something that I loved. Until today, music goes on. I love moving my body. I love sharing that experience with people, showing them how to move their body and feel free in their body in that way. So even though hours and hours we'd spend practicing, it was always fun. It was, even though it was work, it was fun. It never feels like work, even till today when I'm teaching. It doesn't feel like, I feel like, oh, I get to go to work and play and sing and dance and act crazy. That's a wonderful thing.
And of course you have a successful business, dance business in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Dance
and
Vered.
fitness and health. Yes, yes, yes.
What was the inspiration?
Just to continue what I've always done, I owned a fitness center a few years back, and I loved that, but I really wanted to focus much more on bringing dance to people specifically. So that's what I started doing now, and I'm teaching many different types of dance, from erotic dance fitness to Zumba to masala bhangra. I also do one-on-one training with people, private dance lessons too. So I have a lot of background in also ballroom and Latin, so I do a little bit of that as well. But the thing I mostly concentrate now is erotic dance and Zumba. Those are probably my biggest things that I'm doing every day now.
Now, of course, erotic dancing for fitness and Zumba actually have become this phenomena.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
I think people want to feel good. I really do. I think, they go to gyms and they go to clubs and fitness clubs, and they've been on the treadmill forever and on the bike and lifting weights. It's not that it's not good. I love all of that. But people want to have fun. And I think that's what dance brings, and especially something like erotic dance fitness or even Zumba or masala bhangra. It's music that goes on, and you're inspired to move your body, and there's somebody guiding you there, introducing you kind of to the movements. It's not a strict kind of class. It's not a strict dance class where everything has to be perfect, and there's no recital at the end of the year either. So it's about, exploring your own body and your own space, and how does your body move in a unique, dynamic way. So my whole method, no matter what I teach, whether I'm doing Zumba class or erotic dance class or masala bhangra, is be you, do you. Don't try to look like me. Don't try to look like the girl beside you. Nobody moves in the same way, and that's a great thing. It's so beautiful when different bodies move in a different way. So to appreciate the body that you're in and learn how to move it and feel free in it, that's a wonderful, wonderful experience. And that's the feedback all the time. People, when everybody's leaving a class and they're like, oh, I feel so good. You've done your great job. Yeah.
And so you teach, you have your studio in Montreal.
Yes, I teach in different locations. So I travel around Montreal, and I go to Quebec City on weekends, and I do different workshops. And now I'm introducing a new class also, which is an erotic dance class for couples to work on intimacy between a man and a woman. So it's going to be really exciting. Yes. A lot of fun. So I travel around with what I do. Maybe one day I'll come to Toronto.
Well, we would love to have you here.
Yes.
So how many students would you have?
Classes range from, it could be 10 people and it could be 70 people. And we had a class just recently that we were a few teachers teaching together. We were 100 people. So they could go up to whatever, depending on the venue space. It really depends. It varies. But the average class is between 50 to 60 people. That's where, 15 to 60 people. That would be the class range. Yeah.
Now we're going to talk a bit more about erotic dancing history and later in the show, but for in developing your business, I mean, you danced with Arthur Murray for a while.
I did. I taught for them, and I competed with them, and took students to competitions, and that was really fun. And for me, it was always about getting somebody, when I teach somebody, it's always getting somebody to do something that they never thought they can do, which is a very empowering thing. After a student goes to a competition and they're very nervous and they've worked so hard on developing a routine, then they go to this competition and they do it, they feel so wonderful. So seeing that magic in a person is excellent, because all of a sudden like, oh, I could do this. So you've kind of just taken a layer off of fear, which is great. Yeah.
Did you have a lot of fear when starting your own business?
I have to say I'm pretty fearless. I don't know if it's recklessness or I just don't care. So no, I really believe in what I'm doing, especially with the erotic dancing. I love teaching women how to love being a woman. And I think a lot of women are in a space where they do not feel that way right now. And so I really feel I have a huge mission. So I forget about myself, my own fears. It's not about me. It's about communicating that wonderful feeling of that delicious, yummy body that a woman has, and how can I embrace that body, and how can I move this body and feel great about myself now, today. That is always my mission. I think we're very much caught up in, in 6 months from now, or when I get this, or on that vacation, or when I have that car, or when I have this business, or when I have that relationship, I'll be happy when. And for me, I love to pass on the message to women that you can be happy right now. It doesn't have to be the when.
In the present moment.
In the present. And so I really bring them present with physical movement, with touching their body. And so that's why I think it's so important to communicate through the body, is to understand how can I move my body, because it grounds us. It really does. Very often we're in our head thinking. So when we get into the body and getting our body moving to music and inspired by stronger music or sexier music or softer romantic music, every different type of music brings a different aspect and inspires women in a different way. And I think that brings them to a place of being present now. So that's really the mission in the class, is that they really get to love who they are now and not wait till, 6 months from now, or when I have this, or when I'll be there, because who knows what tomorrow brings. And I really believe in enjoying the present moment right now.
And when you talk about being grounded, what do you mean? Do you mean?
Well, I mean that, we have different essences. We are a spiritual being, we are a physical being, and as we work on different aspects of ourselves, and we're very much into self-development, especially in North America, it's all about getting better, being better, et cetera, which is wonderful, but very often it's a thought. And we're thinking about it. So overthinking sometimes gets us lost in those thoughts. So when I'm talking about being grounded, if I just get them to touch their face, this is very grounding. You're like, oh, I'm here. I feel my body. I feel the connection to my body. Even just holding your hands like this, it gets you connected. So that's what I mean by being grounded.
Interesting. When women come into your dance classes,
they're really nervous.
You've got a variety then.
Yeah, and it's really for everybody. That's the interesting thing. A lot of girls will ask me, well, who is this for? Can I do this? And it's for every age. It's for any size. It's for anybody, because being feminine as a woman, it's innate. I'm not teaching them anything that they don't already know. They perhaps, to me, in my ideas, they perhaps have forgotten a little bit about how can I go in and find that feminine woman, because either they've been caught up with their family life, their children, their career, their schooling, whatever it may be. Life is busy. So taking those few minutes in that workshop, in that class, to just get back to themselves, that feminine energy. In the beginning, I think they're very nervous, and we laugh a lot. I close the lights. There's candles lit. Definitely all windows are always closed off, and the music creates a certain ambiance. So it's a very warm, safe environment. I always talk about in the beginning, there is no judgment here. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of women are worried about, because we judge ourselves. And so I try to remove that judgment from the very beginning and tell them that anything you do is perfect. Anything, absolutely anything. You want to touch yourself like this, you want to roll this way, anything is perfect. There is no, oh, you do it better. No, it's not like that. And there is no routine specifically, because when you go home to use this, you probably won't remember any of it. So as long as you learn how to roll your hips and roll your shoulders, that's a great thing, So the moment they're comfortable, they're able to let go, because they've gotten the permission to let go. And everybody wants to let go and have some fun and forget about perhaps their stresses that they have during the day. So that's an opportunity for that. So we do specific exercises for that, breathing, touching, etc.
Of course, and we'll get to experience some of that later. But of course, there's a lot of truth to that, what you're saying. I took belly dancing classes for a few years. For fitness, to have fun, and there were a lot of giggles actually in women coming in and giggling and having fun, and
and that's fun. That's playful. That's so fun. When you get to play, it's such a sexy space to be in. To me, when you're playful, that's very sexy. So letting go and being playful is a great space to be. So trying something new gives you a little playfulness, gives you that little, this is a bit nerve-wracking, but I like it,
Now, we're going to take a break, but before we do, we have our Good to Know Minute, where I ask my guests for their top tip on creating success in life. And Vered, I know you have a top tip.
I do. So my top tip is to wake up every morning in a place of love and appreciation of your life.
wake up every morning in a place of love and appreciation for your life. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
We'll take a
Shannon.
break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Extraordinary Women. I'm Shannon Skinner, and we are here with Vered Haiun. Vered, how does one feel feminine through dance?
That's a great question. I really try, what I try to do to get them into that feminine space, I do use a lot of touching and visualization. So what I try to do is ask all the women to close their eyes and really feel all that feminine energy that is naturally there. I mean, we are feminine beings. We are born female. That nobody can dispute. And that's why I don't really feel that I can tell a woman, oh, you don't know how to be feminine. Every woman knows how to be feminine naturally. I just think it's giving that permission, creating that space, that environment. So for example, I'll give you something that I actually do. We close our eyes and we think of something that's pleasurable, something that makes us feel happy and giddy and excited.
Ice cream.
Oh, great. High heel boots, leather boots, really long.
Chocolate.
Gorgeous lingerie. Chocolate works for me too. So see right away that feminine feeling of sharing. You know, being feminine is very much about the heart, and it's definitely something that's coming up more and more. We're seeing this now in the world, that we need to add a little bit more feminine energy to what's been created in the world, which is very much a male world. And don't get me wrong, I love men. They're wonderful, they're great. But I think we're a little bit off kilter and a little bit off balance, and a lot of women have stepped very much into their male energy because of all the doing. And so we all have careers and we have children and we have a household, which is wonderful and great, but we're really the first generation to do this. We don't have examples before us that did all these things. So we're all exploring, how can I be in this male world and still be feminine? And so being feminine to me is going into that space of energy, into your heart, into a space where you feel things and you're okay with feeling things. Because men don't talk about feelings. Women talk. We talk about it. We talk and talk.
And we make them talk about feelings.
And we tell them, talk to me. Like, no, I don't want to talk. Just want to go into the cave. So I really think that understanding that that's a natural part of us, you know, our feelings, our emotions, being playful, feeling love, bringing love into the world, that's a huge feminine energy. And the more we allow that, the more we can actually feel feminine in our bodies. So if we close our eyes and feel love for ourselves and feel how miraculous we are as women, all the wonderful things we can do with our body, how gorgeous a woman's body is naturally, that naturally makes us feel feminine. People could do that at home and just close their eyes and feel that way. It's not something that's on the outside. Unfortunately, we're taught that, you know, I will feel this way when I go out and do this outside of me. But it is very much an inward feeling feminine. And it takes a minute. It really takes a minute just being with yourself.
Is it possible that some women won't feel feminine through dance?
Yeah, very possible, actually. I have to say, you know, I've taught thousands of women now in erotic dancing. It's 7-8 years now. And some people struggle with it, and some people it comes faster. And it really, I think it has to do with letting go. So it's not that they can't feel feminine, it's just
letting go
of the fear of, if I do this, what will happen? What will I look like? What will other people say? It's the self-judgment. Oh, I don't look like this. My legs are too big for this. My butt is too big for that. My boobs aren't right for this, et cetera, et cetera. You know, all the images that we have in our mind that we think that being feminine is. And very often those are Photoshop images, really. They're not reality. So a lot of women are looking at the 60-foot poster and saying, oh, I'll feel feminine when I get those jeans. But it's not about that. It really isn't. So I think some people, it happens automatically, and sometimes in a class it's really cool, because you'll see in a class, I'll see it in a woman's face and in her body when she's moving, when she got that breath of, oh, I feel it. And it may happen for a minute, And for other women, it may happen throughout the whole class. And everybody moves through that transition in a different space and speed, and that's okay. Again, there are no rules, and I try not to put on this pressure of, you need to get A, B, C, D by the end of this class. No, I'm introducing a space of this. So maybe in the class, they'll never feel it. But the idea is that they go home and have a few of the things that I've talked to them about or mentioned, opened up a space for, and they say, oh, okay, I kind of get it. If I sit like this and if I touch my leg, oh. And so maybe it won't happen this week, and maybe it won't happen next week, but maybe a few weeks later. So for me, every woman I touch, every woman that I meet in my classes, I'm always going forward with that intention that if I can give her just a little opportunity, a space of maybe today won't happen, maybe it will, it doesn't matter. There are no rules. There's no speed to it. You can do it now, you can do it later. So everybody moves in their own speed. I think it's very unique and different for everyone.
Now, you know, erotic dancing for fitness is a craze across North America. And I know in Toronto I'm seeing it quite a bit.
Yes,
and
yes.
But it's not new. I mean, erotic dancing has been around for at least 20,000 years or more.
Absolutely. Well, dancing in particular, you know, as much as we'd like to think that we've created things, we really haven't created new things. Everything was about community. We've been dancing since tribal community, you know. We did dances for rain, we did dances for crops, we did dances for fertility, we did dances for sexual enticement, we did dances for everything. So yes, erotic dancing has been around forever, and it was very, very much a part of rituals for the women to go up and dance and create that energy, because it was always about continuing the tribe. The tribe had to live on. So the woman's body was very much honored until other things kind of came along, and then the Victorian age where women were very much suppressed, you know, so things changed a lot at that point. But yes, it's been around forever. Dancing has, and it's great. And I talk about that also in my classes, that dancing's about community. So smile at the person that's next to you, talk to them, get to know, you know, a lot of people go into a fitness class, they go to the same fitness class for years, they've never talked to the person beside them. They've never said hello. You know, and they have their space, their box that they never get out of, you know. So it's nice to create that community feeling when you're dancing, and which is nice to share that with another woman is beautiful.
And apparently there's been evidence. I think about 20,000 years ago there were paintings in caves in southern France of erotic dance and striptease.
Absolutely,
women wearing animal pelts.
Yes, exactly.
Taking them off for their man, so that's not new.
Exactly. They had costumes. They dressed up. It was entertainment. It was pleasure. It was, how do we bring pleasure into our lives? How do we feel good? So dance was a huge part of that, and especially erotic, which is something that no matter what anybody says, it's a huge part of relationships. A huge part is that sexual energy and enticing and teasing and being playful. Very much so.
Now, bringing it sort of back to your life, what was the turning point for you when you said, you know, I really have to create something to help empower women?
Well, I've always wanted to do that, actually. Even when I was just teaching ballroom and Latin dancing, it was always about empowerment. Whether I was teaching a man or I was teaching a woman, it was about them feeling fabulous about themselves. And then it became more and more specific. I come up from a very traditional background where my mom was at home and pretty much sacrificed out of her own choice, not in a bad way, but sacrificed her life and worked her life around ours. And as an adult, I noticed she didn't even know what were the things that she really loved to do. It was really about our lives. Like a lot of women, their lives are surrounded, which is a wonderful stage to be, surrounded by your children, etc. But then there's a space of what is Vered like, or what is Shannon like, and what are my things that make me go, oh, that feels good, you know? So that was very important for me, to get women to explore that. And feminine energy is something that I always taught, even when I taught ballroom and Latin dancing, because ballroom and Latin is very much about communicating the male energy to the female energy in the way I see it. So a man and a woman on a dance floor, it's not about many steps, it's about how can they communicate with one each other, a non-verbal communication. And I love teaching women how to be sexy, because that entices a man. So as they're becoming more sexy and playful, it entices the man and invites the man to be more of a leader. So you go back to a little bit of the old-fashioned roles, which is it's very fun, and it's very organic, and it's something that people don't even have to try to do. It is natural.
Now, of course, you don't just teach erotic dancing, you teach Zumba as well.
Yes, I do.
Zumba is
high energy,
become really popular. It's all about the party, Zumba.
It's all about the party.
Yeah, I noticed that my fitness class, my gym is actually now offering Zumba classes,
wonderful.
and I'm going to be taking my first one tonight. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Zumba is wonderful. It's fabulous. I've been teaching it for a few years. It's actually based on Latin dancing, so it's a Latin-inspired fitness class, and it lets anybody feel how it is to move to a Latin rhythm, cha-cha, salsa, merengue, etc., while doing fitness. So their whole logo is ditch the workout, join the party. And who doesn't love a party? Everybody loves a party. Especially when you don't have to do your hair or put on heels. Just go in your sweats and you have a good time. So I have clients that come to my classes like 5-6 times a week. This is the only thing they do. They've given up other kinds of fitness and they love it. So to my belief is whatever gets you moving every day. Our body needs to move. Our body needs to get out of what we're sitting in right now. Unfortunately, with convenience, we sit a lot. We're on computers a lot, but our body hasn't changed from thousands of years ago. We still need to move. And if we don't feel good in our body, it's very hard to create progress in other spaces of our lives, spiritually, emotionally, with our families, relationships, etc. So taking care of your body is a huge, huge thing for me. So however people find a way to do it, of course, for me, it's through dance and fitness. I love that part of it all.
And so, Vered, for women who want to find out more about, your dance classes, where can they?
They could go to withvered.com.
Right.
And they can see all my dance classes that I offer there. And we're also developing some online products where they'll be able to do this at home. So they can do the erotic dance fitness at home if they can't come to one of my workshops, or they're a bit too shy to come to one of my workshops.
Well, fantastic. Well, we're going to take a break. And what to you is beauty? How would you define it?
I think everything is beauty, actually, I have to say. I really have this vision that life in itself is beauty. If you're talking about specifically feminine beauty, every woman possesses a different type of beauty, and I don't believe in the box of beauty, I think whatever makes you feel beautiful, things that make you feel good, things that make you feel happy, that's beauty. And there's so much, no matter what, even though there are things in the world that are going on that aren't so beautiful, there's so much beauty inside of all of that. So I can't really define beauty as a woman that looks exactly like this, because I've seen women small, large, tall, big, that are gorgeous and beautiful in their own way. So it's very much about energy to me. Somebody who has open energy and inviting energy and who wants to connect, that's beautiful to me. That's so beautiful to me. So energy is very much beauty for me. It's not necessarily a visual thing, though I can appreciate physical beauty. Don't get me wrong, but it's very much more about the energy.
Now, we talked a bit about it. There was a study that was released not that long ago that women would take being thin over being in love.
Yeah.
And what do you think that has this says about our society?
It was done in a culture perhaps that's also a little bit more. It was a German study, so it wasn't a North American study. So
German study. Correct.
Yes, it was. But that really saddens me, because I think that there's nothing better than feeling love, and love of self first. And I think if we go deeper into why does that person want to feel thin, it will go back to the place of they want to be loved. So I think it's confusing for most women. Oh, let me choose thin over love. But if they knew that they want that thinness, I believe, in my perception, to feel love. That's what we all want, really. We all want to be loved. Our biggest fear is not to be loved enough. So I think that most women, if you got a bit deeper with them and told them, well, being thin doesn't necessarily equate to being in love, they may think twice about their answer to that. Yeah.
With your background, have there been any women's lives that you helped transform just really through
Absolutely.
through dance and through getting into their feminine power.
Yes, I don't take the credit and say, oh, it was because of me, but I definitely gave them an opportunity to look into a space of their life is wonderful and they are beautiful as a woman, and just the thought of just the fact that they are a woman brings huge joy and pleasure. So yes, I've had many women, I've had countless amount of fabulous emails that women have told me that they've never felt better about themselves after taking a class like this, because I used to run it on a weekly basis, so they'd come every week to a class like this. Now that my schedule's a bit busier, I do it once every 6 weeks, the erotic dance workshop, and I do it for a longer period of time. Instead of an hour class, it's an hour and a half or an hour and 45-minute class. So yes, many women have told me that, wow, I never thought about being beautiful in that way, and I never thought that I could feel beautiful now, today, and be playful and let go. So I've had a lot of feedback like that. In particular, recently I had somebody that I taught one-on-one and told me she did a lot of work on herself through therapy, sitting therapy, the traditional type of therapy. And sometimes it's not that I do not believe in that. I think it's wonderful and great. But I think sometimes dwelling on that story, we all have our stories, but going deeper and deeper and deeper into it, and sometimes we could just let go of the story and create a new story. And the new story can be you're beautiful, wonderful, fabulous, delicious, yummy, sexy, luscious, every possible word that goes with being a woman. And imagine going through life with that story. So that's the opportunity and invitation that I give to women. And we've all had our struggles. I've had my personal struggles as well. You know, I was in the dance industry. I'm not exactly built like a ballerina, you know. So and
did
coaches,
you have,
absolutely, coaches would say, tell us all the time, you can never be thin enough. You can never be rich enough. You can never, things like this over and over again would be drilled into a young dancer's mind. Until today, you see, we have a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of young children with a lot of eating disorders, you know. But imagine if when a mom put on a pair of jeans, she said, oh, I love the way I look in these jeans. Then the young child watching that mother would say, oh, I could love myself. And she'd start nurturing herself that way, rather than always looking on the outside for things to nurture herself, which is wonderful. It's great to show love and want love and affection from others. But if you can nurture yourself and feel like you have enough love inside of you, that's a wonderful place to be. So that's very much a big part of being feminine for me, is giving yourself that self-appreciation, looking in the mirror and say, oh, you look wonderful.
But of course, a lot of people emotionally eat.
Yes.
When they're experiencing a full range of emotions.
In there.
Beverages,
Yes.
Food, snacks,
Yes.
Cashews.
Yeah, you know, somebody wonderful that I know, a spiritual coach, she always says this. She says that people feed themselves any way they need to. And they'll feed their spirit anyway. And so some people will feed themselves with food, and some people it's with drinking, and some people it's with drugs, and some people it's with overwork. I mean, even things that seem positive, some people over-exercise even, you know. Excessive amount of anything is excessive. And very often we're feeding things that we haven't taken the time to address or look into, or even give ourselves the space to say, oh, I'm feeling this way. Let me look at those feelings. Let me feel those feelings of sadness, anger, frustration, happiness, joy, ecstasy. We're not taught about feelings. We're taught about math and history and language in school. And nobody talks, you know, so much about feelings. How do we understand feelings?
So this is where sort of touch can be very healing.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Getting out of our heads,
Yes.
off our butts.
It's so important.
Into our bodies.
Yes, yes.
Good exercise.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's interesting. You'll even see children now, because they don't move as much, almost looking awkward and disconnected to their body when they're walking. And that's just because they don't move anymore, you know. So moving your body is so important. So to find something that you love to do on a daily basis, and yes, our body needs movement every day, okay? It's not a once a week thing, it's a daily thing. And it doesn't have to be long. It can be literally 15 to 20 minutes a day of moving your body, getting connected to your body, and understanding you are a physical being here. So how can I make make my body feel great in this physical planet right now.
And yoga does a lot of that too. I mean, yoga is
beautiful,
fantastic.
beautiful. It's I think any form of exercise that is a mind-body connection is definitely something that is wonderful and empowering and brings a lot of growth physically and spiritually. So I would definitely encourage anything that makes you feel wonderful and great, no matter what it is. No matter what it is. You know, some people love lifting weights every day. Wonderful, great, do it. You know.
And I think because we really value intellectual pursuits very much in our society, and there are some things that we can talk about, we can think about, but then there are things that just really need to be experienced. And just that little demonstration with you just really proved that point to me, where you really have to experience something. Some things just need to be experienced and not thought of or talked about.
I think you're
getting into your body.
I think you're hitting something that in general in life is so important, Shannon. Really, we have to go out there and experience life. Sitting behind our desk all day long in our safe little computer box is one thing, but there's a gorgeous, yummy life out there. So try something new, go for a hike, try a dance class, try something, go learn a new language, get out there and have some fun, experience newness. That brings excitement, brings the butterflies back. You know, that nervousness, when you feel nervous right before a dance class, I love seeing that energy in the class. I don't even worry that I have to calm it down, because I know they're feeling alive. Something new is happening, so it's like, ooh, you know, so anything that gives you that, ooh, feeling good, go out there, try it. You're right, some things just have to be felt. Absolutely. I think everything should be felt, actually. Textures and senses in life bring so much joy and pleasure, you know.
Now, Vered, in your career, what's next?
Well, the next project that we're working on right now is getting all these classes online, so that way anybody around the world, I do have a big dream. I would love to touch every woman in the world and make every woman know how wonderful and great it is to be a woman. That for me is a huge, huge vision, huge dream, and I know I'm moving in that direction. I can feel it, I really do. So that's the next stage. And then, like I said, I'm working now on these classes for couples to create that intimacy with couples. Again, a nonverbal communication, how to move the bodies together. To me, to see a couple sharing in that would be a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Will you be able to get a lot of guys out?
Well, the first class is going to be launched in Quebec City, actually, October 30th. And so far we have a very nice response. So yes, I mean, which man would not like their woman to be, you know, connecting with their body? And so it heightens that sensuality and that sexuality for the couple, which is a very important aspect of a relationship. We can't take that away. We are men and women, sexual beings, you know, and we need to sparken that up, you know, so in small little ways.
And what would you do then? What would you sort of demonstrate to them in
So it's going to be
class?
A very simple type of class. I'm going to use different textures, like, for example, something velvety like you're wearing, which is a very soft kind of feeling thing. So I'll have little straps like that of velvet where they can touch and play with and pull. And then I'll have soft feathery things that they could touch each other with. And they'll be moving with one another, closing their eyes, back to back, front to front. Just very simple, no dance steps at all, at all, at all. It's just learning how to communicate through the body, through each other's hearts, through touching each other and getting close and intimate. That's all it is. So it's very simple, really, really simple, no steps. I don't want them to have to think. I want them to be able to feel. That's the class. It's about feeling each other. I like that. About feeling each other.
Well, you know, we're actually time's almost up now for us. So now again, if anyone wanted to reach you.
Yes, they could reach me on my website, which is with, W-I-T-H, Vered, V-E-R-E-D.com, with Vered.com. All my dance classes are posted up there, all the workshops I do. I also have a blog that I write as well about inspiration, and all my videos and everything that I do will be updated over there.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Shannon.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I hope to actually participate in one of your courses in
I'd love that.
Montreal one day.
I'd love that. I'd love that.
Again
Thank
for
you so
being
much
here.
for having
We hope we
me.
can have you back again.
I'd love that. Anytime. Thank you.
Great. Well, for more information about upcoming shows or to contact me, you can please visit my website at extraordinarywomentv.com. A special thanks to my friends and family for your ongoing support, and to the folks at thatchannel.com. And well, if you're interested in transforming your life, I hope the stories inspired you. You've been watching Extraordinary Women on thatchannel.com. I'm Shannon Skinner. See you soon.